This week's episode starts off with the girls reuniting with Farron after her test, stitching her up in a truly hilarious scene before catching her up on the latest of their Rose Waters investigation. Since the real Rose Waters was busy jumping off a bridge at the time of Farron's tests, the girls rule her out as a suspect, but discovering that Dr. Sullivan was Rose's doctor has the girls suspicious of her motives. Imogen confronts Dr. Sullivan and discovers that she had heard about their case and offered her services due to her specialization in cases involving adolescent trauma. Unconvinced that she's acting out of the goodness of her own heart, Imogen and Tabby later break into her office and find that all of their sessions have been illegally recorded and transcribed. The girls confront Dr. Sullivan as a group and find out that she's been writing a book about them. Really? Writing a book? We're doing this again? Noah continues her little love affair with Jen, hooking up with her one night and almost getting caught by Sean the next morning when he shows up early before their morning training session, where Noah apologizes to him for basically everything except cheating on him. Before heading to work, the girls are all talking in the library and Farron rejects Henry's call, saying she doesn't think they're long for this world. She means they might break up, but the wording of it has me wondering if they're foreshadowing Henry's death. At the movie theater, Wes finds out that Tabby got another chance to submit a short for the film festival when she asks him to put in a good word with the selection committee. He's clearly upset about it, which Christian picks up on, telling Tabby that he doesn't trust Wes. And he's not wrong, because Wes later comes back and suggests to Tabby that the only reason she got another chance at the film festival was because they've been called out for lacking diversity. Tabby stands up to him and calls him out on his bullshit, and he acts even more like a little bitch, first saying, "I'm your boss and you talk to me like this," and then telling her and Christian good luck getting through the Friday the 13th marathon without him. Which is like, excuse me? So you're the boss, but you're gonna bail on one of the busiest days of the year? Over at Pinball Pizza, Noah is confronted by Sean's mom asking why he gave her $2,000. She says that he was helping her pay for her mom's rehab, even though she said her mom was out of rehab. So Sean's mom is like, so were you lying then, or are you lying now? And it's like, both. Then, now, all the time. His mom tells Noah that she needs to make it right and pay him back. After she leaves, Jen calls Sean's mom an unhinged nightmare and says that Noah should just break up with Sean and be done with that whole family. But Noah says she's not going to break up with him, so Jen figures she needs to come up with the money since she's the reason that Sean gave it to Noah in the first place. Farron tells Henry that she's uncomfortable with him talking about their relationship to strangers at the church, and he invites her to one of the youth group sessions. At the Cairo session, Kelly opens up about how she was originally jealous of Farron, but they've become friends, and Greg owns up to trying to make Farron feel weak and unattractive, but says that he respects her. And Henry admits that he misses dancing with her and thought that it would mean the end of their relationship, but he wants to connect with her in a new way, and Kelly suggested that could be Redemption House. Jumping over to Imogen, she and Johnny show up to her dad's house for dinner to meet his new fiancé. It doesn't go well once Imogen notices the woman is wearing her dead mother's ring, and believing that it should have gone to her after her mother died, Imogen demands the woman give it back or she'll cut it off her finger. Sawyer tells Imogen to put the knife down and get out of his house, and Johnny tries to de-escalate the situation, telling her it's not worth it. Farron shows back up to the church, curious about the inner circle that Greg mentioned, and led by Pastor Malachi, a group of kids, including Kelly and Henry, along with Mrs. Beasley, are gathered in a circle praising something, making weird noises. I'm not sure what they're doing. Farron rushes out, and Henry follows her outside, and freaked out by what she saw, she asks Henry if he'll walk away from the church for her, and when he doesn't answer, she breaks up with him, probably for the best, because he's totally in a cult now. Noah comes home to Jen, waiting with the $2,000 to pay Sean back, but finds a letter that says, "You've been walking the forbidden path. Go there now alone, or one of your beloveds die." So she kicks Jen out and tells her that she loves Sean, not her. Jen insists that she doesn't mean it, but Noah screams at her to fucking leave. What if Jen got the money? Because Noah asks, how did you get the money? And Jen's like, don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to. What if she got the money because she's working with Bloody Rose and she got the money by delivering the letter? Noah heads to the trail and finds her final girl letter saying, "A final girl must have a high threshold for pain. Take off your shoes and start walking." She starts down a path covered in rose petals that turns into a path of thorny stems, Bloody Rose shows up with the dog, letting it loose after Noah, who takes off running. She makes it to a road where Jen pulls up just in time for Noah to get in before the dog catches her. Bloody Rose watches as the two of them drive away, ruling out Jen from being Bloody Rose, but not necessarily ruling her out from being an accomplice. When Noah came home and Jen had the money, she asked how she got it, and Jen was like, don't ask questions that you don't want the answer to. And the letter that was waiting for her, Jen said it was waiting outside and she just brought it in. But what if Jen was paid to deliver the letter? So while the girls are now suspicious that Dr. Sullivan might be Bloody Rose, I'm not, because my latest suspect is Karen. Forget everything I said before. I was rewatching season 1 over the weekend when I saw a post that suggested Karen could be Bloody Rose, and with that idea in mind, I started noticing a lot of clues that could make sense. The base of the theory is that Karen didn't die when she fell, but she was just injured enough that she was sent away to hide her from the world, basically because Sheriff Beasley was so fixated on her being perfect, and now she's not. I was on the last episode of season 1 when I first saw the theory, and I remembered there was a scene in episode 9 where Tom tells Kelly that she was never the dancer her sister was. Kelly says that they all miss Karen, but she calls her dad a drunk bully, and Tom says if there were any justice in the world, it would have been you who slipped, not Karen. It's bad, but it would make sense for him to wish that it was Kelly who got hurt since she wasn't the better dancer anyway. So Karen survived the fall, but she was hurt and can't dance anymore. I think she could have been sent to the Sisters of Quiet Mercy from Riverdale since it was mentioned in season 1, and that could be how she became connected to the church. Through watching season 2, there are other clues that could fit with Karen being Bloody Rose. First of all, when she fell, it was the left side of her face that was bloody, and blood started to pool on the ground. So the bloody bandages of Bloody Rose could resemble how Karen looked after the fall when she was recovering. And then the eye that we see through it is the bloody left eye that were shown after Karen falls. And then Bloody Rose seems to have a limp where she drags her feet, which could be a result of her injuries, which ties into her not being able to dance. Plot-wise, I think the couple killed in the first episode resemble Kelly and Greg, and Karen would be upset about them being together, especially because they hooked up very shortly after her death. And then Sandy was Karen's friend, so she was betraying her by trying to get with Greg. And the images of the Bloody Rose appearances that were posted on Spooky Spaghetti, each image is connected to one of the liars, but also connected to Karen. The movie theater is where Tabby works, but also where the video of Karen was shown. The ballet studio is connected to both Farron and Karen, and that's where Karen had the razor blades put into her shoes. The cemetery is where Imogen and Karen would meet up, and then the school field is where Noah would practice for track, and also probably where Karen would practice for cheerleading. Karen would also have motive for going after the girls. Kelly befriended the liars throughout the season, but Karen's last interaction with them was that video being shown and then being attacked while she was trying to get revenge on Imogen. She has no reason to forgive them, and she might even resent them for surviving the Millwood massacre physically unharmed, while she has to live with the injuries from Archie pushing her. I think Karen being Bloody Rose makes sense given that it's Pretty Little Liars and they're all about the twin stuff. And I still think there's something weird going on with the church that has to be connected. Maybe they see what happened to Karen and her surviving as like a second chance, or like she went through some kind of test and has proven herself to be worthy. So now they worship her like the freaks on Spooky Spaghetti worship the image of Bloody Rose. I don't know. Let me know what you think of the Karen is Bloody Rose theory down in the comments.